welcome back to the Heater Dynasty podcast. Guess who's back? Back in action. My team knows how to score again. I am happy. The Washington football team won. That makes me even happier. Who did they play this week, Mark? That's right. It was the Cowboys. And it's been kind of fun to watch a division that is full of teams that suck as much as the Washington football team this year.
We might back into the playoffs at 6-10.
Yeah, it'll be so embarrassing, but it'll be nice to watch that one game in January. You know,
which we will host in that situation.
We will, and we will get stomped by some wild card team.
Probably from the NFC West.
I was going to say, who do you think? It's going to be the NFC West, so who's it going to be? Is it going to be Seattle again to sort of the umpteenth time? Honestly, it'll probably be like the 49ers. I think Seattle's going to come back. Even though they lost on Monday night, I think that they will take the division for sure.
I think so. Niners are on last right now, though. I would agree that I think they're the second best team. I think that the complete opposite. Every one of them has a winning record.
Right. But with the expanded playoffs this year, statistically, it's possible that all four teams from the NFC West could make the playoffs. I mean, probably unlikely, but it's statistically possible now with that extra wild card spot. You could have four teams from one division.
Okay. So, that's right. So there's 1 and 2 now get a bye.
Yeah, I think that's how it works. I don't. Maybe. I don't know. All I know is there's an extra player. So.
Yeah, I forgot about that. To be honest.
But no, this was a fun game to watch. Watching the Cowboys just totally get destroyed by making the Washington football team look like they actually know how to play football. It was incredible. Defense,
actually looked like as advertised what we were expecting. It helps when you've got, I think Cowboys have one starter on their offensive line. Yeah. So that helped us get some pressure.
Yeah. I will say that was definitely a dirty hit by John Bostic. That was not cool.
I'm actually stunned that they're saying they don't expect a suspension. I definitely expected multiple game suspension.
Yeah, no, I was like, he's out for a little bit. He's gone for 2 weeks and totally justifiable. Yeah. But, that's unfortunate. They really should have suspended him for sure.
What's not justifiable? That Ryan Kerrigan has, I think, 23 snaps through this season or something like that. And I think he's averaging like a sack every 6 plays or something like that.
Well, I'd say he has 4 sacks, so that's a pretty good average there. Yeah. Yeah, that's insane. Do you think he's going to be on our team after the bye week?
See, we were talking about this, and I really think, like, if it was my preference, I say keep him. Unless he's requesting a trade, then he's more than earned that right. But I'm fine with paying him, like, a salary for how loyal and how consistent he's been for us. Like, let him right off on the sunset with a nice contract.
No, I am right there with you. I agree. If he wants to trade, by all means, let him go wherever he wants. I don't care. Get that man a Super Bowl. That's fine. Yeah. But if he wants to be here and we're the ones that are doing him dirty like that, no, I'm not okay with that. So I personally hope he stays in burgundy and gold. And just fingers crossed. Got a couple more weeks. And because trade deadline, is it this upcoming week? Is that the end of it? When is it?
I guess so. For some reason, I always thought it was the 6th, but obviously I'm wrong in that regard. It has to be the 8th. I don't think it can be later than the 8th.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But anyway, here's to hoping. But all that to say, I mean, Dallas week is always a fun week. It's good to have an entire extra week to gloat about this and not to have to hear about how miserable we were since the Washington team is on bye week 8. But I know last time we talked about some of our favorite games playing Dallas. Maybe not last week, but recently we did. Yeah. But I definitely have another game in my mind as far as my second favorite Dallas loss. Do you happen to have one?
Dallas. Yes. Okay. I started to think if we were then saying our lowest moments of having losses to Dallas.
Yeah. No, I didn't say it the most clear, but
like I had prepared it the wrong way. But yes, the one for me, obviously still the one we talked about last time with Brunel, but the other one for me was that Thanksgiving game where RG3 and Alfred Morris were just demolishing and on their hype train where we thought we were good and set and out of the misery that has been my Washington career, my lifetime, and most of your lifetime as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be the second one I think of, like that bombed Aldrich Robinson.
It was insane. And you're talking about Thanksgiving, right? That one where
Thanksgiving.
Yeah. I was in Wisconsin at the time for that game, and I remember we were at a friend's house, and I was the only one in the basement watching the game because everybody else had already watched the game that they wanted to watch or whatever. I think it was the afternoon game, the 4:30 game. So I was down there watching, and I just start screaming and yelling, and people come running down, and they're like, what? I'm like, they're winning for the first time ever.
I'm not used to this.
This is not normal.
I don't have Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to, yeah. I'm sure whoever will be great next.
Right.
So.
Maybe the kid they just drafted, do you think?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Honestly, I forgot his name.
Jordan Love?
Love. There it is. Yeah, he'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to work out. But my favorite game, I'm surprised you didn't mention it, was the game. Well, maybe you weren't old enough, honestly, when I'm thinking about it now. This was
Don't do this again to me. Don't do this again to me.
This game was in 2006. So how old were you in 2006?
11. Yes, I remember.
Okay. All right. I didn't. Just checking. So 2006. The game is tied 19-19. Nick Nilback misses a 49-yard field goal that would have helped them. That would have basically sealed the game. There's 44 seconds left on the clock. Tony Romo drives down the field in those 44 seconds, puts them in position to kick a 35-yard field goal, right? I think he passed it to Jason Witten, something like that. Their kicker sets up to kick the ball. Troy Vincent was playing with us that year, comes around the side, blocks the kick. The ball skirts loose. Sean Taylor picks it up, and
who else do you want picking that ball up?
Yeah, he picks it up, and of course he's like, no, I'm not falling on this. He picks it up, bobbles it, starts running. Somebody on the Cowboys, I think it was like their guard or something, grabs him by the face masks, almost rips his helmet off. He keeps running, and then eventually gets tackled like the 50, something like that. There's no more seconds on the clock. The game's over. But wait, there's more. Obviously, they get the penalty for the face mask. They add an extra 15 yards. The rule is they're allowed to have one play. Nick Novak has a chance to redeem himself. He has to kick a 47-yarder, puts it through the uprights. We win the game. Camera pans to Bill Parcells, who just looks absolutely miserable and upset and angry. It was wonderful. I think Joe Gibbs was the coach at that time.
Yeah,
I was going to say 2.0.
Two classic coaches.
Yeah.
And past their primes for sure at that point.
That was one of those games where the rest of the game was like miserable to watch. It was just back and forth, garbage football. But those last 44 seconds.
Very full, very dense. Well, should we get the headlines and hearsay?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've reminisced enough at this point. We can definitely move on. So what do we got this week, Mark?
So, AB signs with the Bucs. Week 9 should be his first week. So this week, not yet. Week 9, we get the much anticipated return. Out of the excitement of his signing, I then made a trade for him. I don't think this one's going to end up being earth-shattering either way, but I gave Jamal Williams to John, who has Aaron Jones, giving him the handcuff there, the 3rd-round pick, just to get the shot, Antonio Brown, that he's something. So I think the floor of it is pretty low, though I'll probably lose this trade in the end. But the opportunity.
I was going to say, have you seen that meme where the Grim Reaper is going from door to door, and the Grim Reaper says AB on his chest, and it has the Raiders door and a pile of blood. Mm-hmm. Then it has the Patriots and a pile of blood, mm-hmm. and now then he's knocking on the Buccaneers.
And there's no blood yet?
Not yet, but he's coming. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully you're not the one to answer that door, Mark, because that deal sounds, I don't know. Maybe you'll get a couple good games out of him. I don't see this changing. The real question is, was this Tom Brady or was this Bruce Arians?
This was more Tom Brady. So he had one game with them, caught a touchdown. Oh, you're talking about the signing or my confidence in the trade? Oh, I thought this was both.
Well, both. Like, does that help your confidence? But did Tom Brady bring him to the Bucs, or did Bruce Arians bring him to the Bucs?
I don't know. To me, I took it more as Tom Brady because I think he was also kind of brought into the Patriots. Also, they had that one game together, and they looked just fine together. And then, what did Bruce Arians say? He was like, you may know it.
I was just going to say, I think it's funny because Bruce Arians, like, back before the season began, was talking about it, and he's like, no, that he's not the right kind of guy. He's not going to fit our scheme. He's not good for the culture. Now it turns around. Now Tom Brady's on the team, and he's like, oh, no, this is great. Yep, this is definitely what we need. He's a changed man. This is good. I'm all about second chances. Like, just talking out of the side of his mouth, and I just think it's funny. This is very obviously Tom Brady getting what he wants, and I'm just, as someone who lives in New England who's not a Patriots fan, I'm just kind of hoping this blows up.
Yeah, I'm on the opposite side, I would say. To me, it's kind of like at this point, certain people just get the axe. You know what I mean? Like so there's like Ray Rice. You know, he was done. Antonio Brown, I feel like it's all out there. And while he should be done, the fact that they're bringing him back, like, what more could there come out and come up? You know what I mean? Like, maybe there is. But it's interesting how people get attempts, who get so many tries and who gets shunned. So maybe there is more. Maybe I've jinxed it. Maybe we're going to find out.
Those are the kind of words that make me so excited for week 9 to see what happens, because it can always get worse. It can always get crazier. This is going to be fun.
Do you mean more off the field or on the field?
Probably more off the field, but
that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking.
I got my bucket of popcorn. I'm going to be sitting here watching.
Watch it.
I'm excited.
And like I said, I probably will lose the trade, but the ceiling was worth the floor to me.
Cool. Well, I think we spent more time on Antonio Brown than he will spend in a Buccaneers jersey, so we can move on.
All right, I'll run through these pretty quick here. So, Chris Carson, foot injury, should be back, shouldn't be long. Odell Beckham, ACL tear, out for the year. That was unfortunate for him. Kenyon Drake, didn't totally know if it's a high ankle sprain or low ankle sprain from last I saw.
It looks like it's leaning towards high. So like mid to low to high, upper.
Right. So mid ankle sprain. We'll heads or bets. So looks like it's going to be multiple weeks.
Yeah.
Obviously, it depends upon what the injury actually is. Jeff Wilson, one-hit wonder. Great 3 touchdowns back to the IR. Followed, not to be outdone, by DeJuan Game Jackson. He's out for 6 to 8 weeks after the one game. Couple updates for big guys. Dalvin Cook should be returning this week. Looks like.
Eckler.
they weren't too optimistic. They said more to the latter of his, so 3 to 5 weeks it looks like for him to come back. And two at a time, Jared Burkholder waiting for McCaffrey 1 to 3 weeks so he returns.
Though I will say, I saw a report today, he was in a practice jersey. He was in the red jersey to indicate that he was, injury, an injured player. And
not blood.
not Antonio Brown, Grim Reaper style, but no. And he took that practice jersey off and put a regular jersey on.
Wow.
So start the hype train. He's coming. He's coming. Anyway,
right.
Let's move into the week in review. We got some heavy hitters here. We had Justin Herbert with the top score of the week for the quarterbacks by a measly 0.4 points. He beats your Kyler Murray, but he got 40.9. Kyler Murray got 40.5. And then if we kept going, we talked about
who had more points like for their overall thing. How many points did Justin give you towards your overall points?
We'll talk about him in a second when we get to the factors, because he was very warm on my bench. But if we were to continue this list, Tom Brady would be next, but we've already mentioned we don't like Tom Brady. So, poo-poo, you're not on the list. We're sticking at 2 this week. Running backs, Jeff Wilson, we just talked about him, and he had 3 touchdowns in this game. And apparently he is a heavy hitter, but with weak legs. So he was not able to handle that weight.
Warm on my bench as well.
Yes, 34. James Robinson, still cruising for Jacksonville, 33.9 points. You and me had the the wide receivers 1 and 2 this week. You had Tyler Lockett on top. I had Devontae Adams with 51 points. And then looking at this list, I'm realizing, Mark, there's only one name on this list that isn't on our teams.
James Robinson.
Yeah. James Robinson is the only one who's on our list because I have the 2 top tight ends this week, Harrison Broughton, who is on my bench, and Darren Waller, who was starting. So, all that to say, I think we got some pretty dope teams, Mark. I think there's a reason we are at the top of the rankings. Spoiler alert.
But not for our management styles, because half of those were on our bench. But
true, but we still crashed. So who knows? Anyway, going on to head scratchers. We already mentioned Wilson was on your bench. Herbert was on my bench. Drew Brees was on Albizi's bench, which might have led to the reason he got beat this week. Giovanni Bernard was whose bench was he?
My bench. That's me as well.
So we're continuing the list of we have awesome teams and horrible management skills. You said Sam Miller as a wide receiver. Whose bench was he on?
Putting me out a spot here. I think that's Whale No Mark, if I remember correctly.
Okay. That's fine. We can blame him. And then lastly, Richard Rodgers was also on someone's bench. That I think was Woo Footy. Am I just making things up at this
point? So Sam Miller was Woo Footy, not Whale No Mark.
So then we all
Richard Rodgers. Oh, actually, you're right. Richard Rodgers is Woo Footy as well. So
okay. So it's all our buddy Hennig there, who I believe lost this week. Game. Yeah.
It was like a 20-point game.
Bummer, dude. Yeah, what were you doing? Moving on to horrible. Cam Newton. Dude, you suck. And the whole rumors. Scam Newton. That's right. Or, throwing the ball into the ground or to the hands of the other team, Newton. Because he looked absolutely horrible. He threw 3 interceptions. The rumors that the Washington football team might be interested had better just be rumors. They better not be true, because we do not need any more quarterbacks. I combined the word horrible and quarterbacks. Did you hear that? Quarterballs?
Yeah. That's a Washington-specific word.
Yeah, quarterballs. We don't need any more horrible quarterbacks in our carousel. That's for sure. We already have plenty to spare. Jerick McKinnon, 0.2.
Not good.
Not good. Zeke Elliott, 8.8 against that stout Washington defense.
That front is incredible.
That was beautiful. It was wonderful. It does help that they had 0 offensive linemen, but we'll take it. Josh Jacobs, 5.35 points. Yuck. Another reason that Albizi lost, unfortunately. Chase Claypool, how the mighty have fallen, No, I think it's just a matter of Deontay Johnson being back on the field, and people are back in their rightful place. Mike Williams had a down week.
That's a little harsh.
Maybe a little harsh, but I'm just saying Deontay Johnson is the wide receiver 1 on that team right now, for sure. And then Travis Kelce and Jonnu Smith, 2 of the stalwarts this year in the tight end position, had down weeks. Should we be worried about either of them, Mark, do you think, going forward?
Desperately worried about my Travis Kelce. But no, I think we're fine.
I think it's just an off week.
I was kidding.
I would not be worried.
The Chiefs defense, I think, scored 2 touchdowns for them, so they lost 2 possessions that way.
Yeah. He didn't do much. Mahomes didn't do much. They didn't have to.
Yeah.
But if we were to continue moving on, I would love to talk about our hot takes, because I believe that I'm looking pretty good with some of these hot takes I did, Mark. So, for instance, Hayden Hurst and Jonnu Smith, speaking of Jonnu Smith, I predicted that they both end up top 10 tight ends this year. And currently, what position do you think Hayden Hurst is sitting in, Mark?
Oh, it's right in front of my screen, but I would say 5th.
You would be correct. He is in 5th with 87.8 points, and Jonnu Smith is in 8th with 84.8, meaning that I am right on the money. And
who's not in 5th? The Atlanta Falcons. Who's just very unique ways, every week, unique ways to lose a game.
Yeah, and I think you must be referring to my other hot take, that I said that Matt Patricia would be fired from head coach of the Lions by week 8. And yes, thank you, Falcons, for making me look like a complete idiot. / also thank you, Matt Stafford. And I guess I severely underestimated the kind of blackmail that Matt Patricia must have over Matt Stafford, because Matt Stafford was playing like a man possessed. And I thought it was hilarious, that last play. Did you watch the game at all, Mark?
Yeah. Dude, I was good.
So obviously you're happy because you got Todd Gurley on your team. But Todd Gurley is going, he got the first down, and he's like, oh, crap, I got to stop. So he tries to fall down, but the ball just breaks the plane by this much. They say touchdown.
And Lions players are all rooting for the touchdown.
Yeah. The Lions players are pushing him into the end zone. He scored. I promise he scored. Because now they got a minute left, and Matt Stafford was able to go down the field, score, and win the game by 1 point.
He's a fun player to watch too, because he has the most unique arm angles when he's throwing as well. He's a little off balance and stuff, but his name's not Patrick Mahomes, so he doesn't get the credit and the fun highlight plays from it. But he's throwing almost the submarine throw at times coming up. It's cool.
Yeah, that particular one he did his little sidearm right to T.J. Hawkinson, who actually caught it this time. So good for him. But all right, well, so since we talked about my boneheaded hot take, let's talk about yours, bud. So far, you made the outlandish statement at the beginning of the year that Will Fuller and Brandon Cooks, neither of them would crack wide receiver 2 this year. You're saying it's a bust. This is a bad idea. Nothing's going to happen. I told you, okay, but they have to pass the ball to somebody. And you said, nope, they don't. Well, apparently they do, Mark, because not only are they both wide receiver 2s right now, they are bookending that position. So Will Fuller is a wide receiver 12 on the season currently, so that's technically a wide receiver 1, actually.
Sure.
Borderline wide receiver 2. Borderline wide receiver 1, top wide receiver 2. Whereas Brandon Cooks is at wide receiver 23, which is right on that back end, but still counts as a wide receiver 2. So what do you have to say about that?
Well, so one of the main things is both of them having injury backgrounds. So I've still got that shot that we get an injury.
You realize they've both been on and off the field with injury and yet are still wide receiver 2s.
Yeah, so there's still the opportunity that more happens here. And second, this is their bye week, so I'm definitely making up some good ground this week, and then we'll kind of reevaluate here once they've had their bye week.
All right. Well, yeah, I guess we'll have to see. The good news is hopefully they can't get injured on their bye week,
which we can't rule out.
It's true. Do you remember that year when who was it? Was it D'Angelo Hall for us when he had the foot injury, but then he apparently re-aggravated his injury because he slipped in the shower?
Yes, we've had. I think it was a Hall. I think you're right.
Yeah, because he had the Achilles injury, which unfortunately, so does Landon Collins now. So that could be ugly. But yeah, he slipped in the shower and re-aggravated it.
I would like to discuss another one of my hot takes of Todd Gurley, who I said was going to be the reason I would have success. And thus far, RB7, thanks in large part to the nose of that football and his error of scoring that touchdown, vaulting him into the top 8. So thank you, God Turley. I appreciate your mistake.
God Turdley is what it sounds like when I hear that, but okay. Well, yep. Enjoy that win now. I do remember that epic monologue that you gave us with that foundational Todd Gurley as your stalwart, your pinnacle, your success, your drum that you were beating. But I will have to tell you, congratulations, much to my own chagrin, for taking home not only the high score of this week, but the high score of any week so far in our Dynasty League that has been spanning for 2 seasons. The former score that was mine. It was 231. But now
what's the new mark?
The new mark is 237.83. So congratulations, my friend.
Thank you.
And it could have been higher if you had made some better choices this week.
My top 2 running backs are on the bench.
Yeah, that is quite the humble brag.
And one's off my roster, so he goes on IR. I'm done with Jeff Wilson. Don't trust the 49ers running backs. It's done.
But I mean, I'm only half upset because I am back on the horse. I won this week. Thank you, Caleb, for sucking, and I'm back, baby.
Back.
Mostly on the shoulders of Devontae Adams, but I will take it.
So, actually, a fourth of the points was Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Right? You got 200, he got 50.
Yep.
Boom.
But
if you can just keep that pace up, you're good. It's
a team effort for sure.
Yeah. I guess to be fair, Tyler Lockett was also a fourth of mine. I think he got 60 and I got 240. 237.
Yeah. All right. So do you want to discuss the game results?
Let's do it.
For this week? All right. So going into this week with our prediction meter, we had Caleb on top with 21 wins, 15 losses. Mark, you came in second. You were at 19 wins and 17 losses. And then I was bringing up the rear with 16 wins and 20 losses based on my horrible predictions over the last 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. This week, I fared a little bit better, but unfortunately you guys were also doing well. So Caleb predicted 5-1 this week. I also predicted 5-1. And then you, Mark, actually predicted 4-2 because of you did not think that I could beat Seymour, but I did. So
trusted him.
You trusted him, and you put your trust in the wrong horse for sure. So that puts us at a total of 26-16 for Caleb. I am an even 500, 21-21. And Mark, you are just ahead of me at 23-19. So as long as you keep making boneheaded picks, I should catch up to you by next week. And hopefully Caleb will have forgotten how to do the bottom half of his so that we have a chance. Because right now he is running away with it for sure.
Yeah, if it ever just drops off at some point, just know it's gotten out of hand that Caleb always won.
Right. If we stop talking about this segment, then Caleb obviously won. But the only games that are really worth highlighting this week, GM Newell also forgot how to tank, and he beat Burkholder thanks to Baker Mayfield throwing 5 touchdowns. And we already mentioned I'm no longer in the doghouse. I'm back on top. But the person who was ranked ahead of me last week, we all know Mark, he lost to Connor, 138-101. So luckily, that's good news for Connor. Great job, buddy. Way to win. And it's great news for you and me that we all know Mark is now at 5-2.
Still about, I guess now he and I are tied for record. There may be more people as well.
Yeah, but he was at the top 6-1 before 5-1 before this week. So all that to say, power rankings, Mark. What was there much movement this week? What do you think? Do I get to regain my second place spot?
So before we transition, I do want to give John the credit. He's also 5-2. So that's three of us at 5-2. And yes, I agree that you have returned. That though with the 3-4 record here, I do believe you may be back in second with points for. Yes, so back in second with points for. Obviously, a deep roster, and to be honest, I really don't know how. We all know Mark is continuing with Barkley and Eckler being out thus far. But Eckler is coming back at some point. I think he's going to be fine. He's going to be there at the end. It's really his receivers / Mahomes holding him up. I think we'll kind of see how everything shakes out, but he's looking good.
Well, if you want to know the truth, it's the points against is why he's holding out. He has the least points against on the season by a significant amount. So he's only had 878 points scored against him. The next lowest looks like it is Ben Chapman with 938. Yeah. So that's the reason, and that luck can't hold out forever.
Yeah. Now he is still third in points for.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I mean, I think about like some of my losses. I've scored 140 points and lost. He scored 120 points and won. You know what I mean? Like it works out in his favor. So we'll see. We will see. But I'll say, run through.
I think that was our only movement this week. So a couple of highlights. We all know Mark had a very low score of 100 points. This was Mahomes had no offense to be done. Chiefs defense, I think it was a kick return was the other thing. He had 2 scores. He lost 2 possessions. He didn't need them. CeeDee Lamb just locked down by that stingy Washington defense.
Oh, man. It was beautiful.
And the nasty hit by Bostic, I'm sure did not help his targets. No. I think there was a JMU player drafted in the 7th round, DiNucci, something like that.
Ben DiNucci.
And then he's been, so Thielen was on bye. and Miles Sanders and Eckler both hurt. So I think all that said, I think your team is stronger. I would rather have your team.
I would also rather have my team. I'd rather have his schedule, apparently, but my team.
There you go. The rest, John beat Albizi, so it's kind of easy to keep him there. Wu Footy, man, I think he's just hanging on to that, what is he, 6th spot, right in the middle? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 6th spot. He's had a lot of injuries. Newton, we've already discussed. I forgot which team he was throwing to. Happens to the best of us. So Seymour right on his behind, and the rest kind of stayed the same. We'll see if there's any fluctuations coming up here, but it's be about the same.
We'll see. GM's trying to stay in that basement, but he snuck a win in this week. So right now, currently, he's still resting ahead of P. Miller is technically on the bottom when it comes to tanking for Trevor, but there's still a lot of season left. So we'll see which one of them can tank and field a legitimate team at the same time.
We'll see. Well, anything else that we need to cover here on this one?
I don't think so. You guys are in for a treat for our player series this week. Who are we interviewing, Mark? Who are you interviewing?
We actually have a very, very good lineup here for us set up.
I would say the best lineup.
Easily best one. Even our other.
Yeah. So I'm going to be interviewing Mark while Mark is simultaneously interviewing me. And you'll get to know new sides of us that we didn't even know about ourselves or each other. So it should be good. But we are anticipating this because once we get off this one, we're going to go record that one for you guys. So we will see you guys shortly in our next podcast. Till next time.
See you guys.